Terminal lights in the undertow. Packets racing through the wire. Silicone dreams feeding the fire. Coke compounds, alarms ignite. Pushing commits into midnight. Every line a razor edge. Living life on the bleeding edge. We don't sleep, we don't stop. We debug while the systems fall. Every signal through the noise. Every failure fuels the fight. We are engineers in the loop, breaking the future, rewriting the truth. Binary pulse in a human mind, racing the clock, leaving fear behind. We are engineers in the loop, building tomorrow from fragments and proof. If the world resets, we still reboot. We are the engineers in the loop.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Woo! Oh. Everyone keeps saying Opus is the model for your serious work. The expensive one. Opus is expensive, especially that 1 million context window. The one worth paying for. Today, that argument died. Anthropic shipped Claude Sonnet 4.6, and it doesn't just approach Opus performance, it beats Opus on the tasks that matter the most in the real world. At 1/5 the cost, that changes your production architecture today. Let's get into it. Gotta stop this music. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. I'm RJ, staff engineer. And because you got tired of waiting through press releases and hype, I find out what actually matters to engineers that build things in production. Every week, I pull the top 3 to 5 stories, try to frame them for you so you can cut through all the BS. No beginner tutorials, just signal. Today, it's morning. Almost got to go to work. We got some stories for you, including this Sonnet 4.6. Let's get into it. So Anthropic, 12 days ago, Claude Opus 4.6 releases. 12 days later, Sonnet 4.6 releases. And the API string is Claude Sonnet 4.6. I've seen it show up differently in my terminal, but it's there. The main point here is that 4.6 Sonnet has scored higher than Opus 4.6 on 2 major real-world production benchmarks. All right, the office productivity and the finance agent is where it succeeded. On the 2 most developer-relevant benchmarks, the SWE bench verified at 79.6 for Opus versus an 80.8%, 80.8. OS World also benchmarked it slightly higher. It's statistically indistinguishable from Opus, while costing 5 times less. Like I called it out earlier, the context window, the 1 million token context window with automatic context compaction, adaptive thinking mode, and improved prompt injection resistance, and computer use near human level performance and on-screen interaction tasks. Now, I've been using Opus and Sonnet. I switch between them. Depends on what kind of task I'm trying to get done. I found that, it does work pretty well Sonnet-wise. I like the 1 million context window. I like how much cheaper it is. That's a bonus. Model selections changes a lot, I've noticed recently. If you're defaulting to Opus or your production agent pipelines are trying to run the best cost-benefit analysis again, we're getting to a point where you have to run your benchmarks weekly because of these new models. It seems like I showed that meme last time. I wish I had it pulled up. The meme last time of where we have Anthropic releases a new model, OpenAI releases a new model, Google releases a new model. We just keep going around and around in a circle. That happens at a rate that we need to build gateways in front of our agents so that we know which agent to connect to. All right. The 1 million context window matters a lot for agentic work. With context compaction, you can now run super long horizon agent sessions without, transaction gotchas. It's going to change how we architect multi-step processes and pipelines. Computer use is crossing the production threshold. Right here. So computer use, Claude Sonnet, OS World, and verified scores over time. We're constantly going up. We're seeing it going up. Clip this. In 16 months, Claude computer use score went from 14.9% to 72.5%. And that's 5 times better. That's not a model getting smarter. That's compatibility crossing the line from experimental to production ready. And then the model did it. Not the flagship, the mid-tier, the 1/5 cost. This changes your architecture. It's a great question. I haven't had enough hands-on time completely with 4.6. It literally just came out. I'll get back to you about the specific edge cases next time we have, but I'll tell you what I find. Okay. Complete guide to benchmarks. These benchmarks is what you want to take a look at here. This is really dark, so I don't know if that's popping through. So 4.5 to 4.6 changes. I'm going to highlight that so you can see it. Knowledge cutoff was August of last year versus February. Prompt injection resistance is Opus level. This is a big thing if you guys aren't testing prompt injection yourselves and relying on the model. I wouldn't do that. I would try to play around with it and see if you can get the agent to do things that it's not supposed to do. Context window 200K. Now there are, I should call this out. There are two different ones for Claude Sonnet. So there's a regular Sonnet, which is a 200K context window, and then there's the 1 million context window. So just keep advised of that when you configure that. Not bad, not bad. $15 per million tokens. It's pretty expensive. Still getting pretty expensive for these tokens. Down from last year, but still pretty expensive. Anyway, I'll leave these links in the link in the show notes. But all right, let's see if we got anything funny. No, nothing funny. I thought I had one open. Our sequel. A little meme break. Got to do a little meme break. Programmer says they'll fix the bug in an hour. Believe them. You don't need to remind them 2 hours. That's true. That's true. I saw a post the other day that required 4+ years of experience with fast API. I could only apply as I only have 1.5 year experience since I created the thing. Maybe it's time to reevaluate years of experience skill level. Coffee break. So this one always hits close to home, and this is something like I've encountered in my career where they're like, "Oh, we want 10 years of X GraphQL experience." This is like when it's only out for like a year. I don't know what these recruiters are thinking. Who writes these posts? Not AI. Okay. Tying to the last story. We're going to talk about building model agnostics. I got left behind. So Anthropic shipped 2 major models in 12 days. Opus 4.6 on February 5th, Sonnet on February 17th, 2 days ago. And then the week before that, OpenAI shipped Codex Spark, which has a 1,000 token per second ability. The week before that, something else. If your production system is tightly coupled to a specific model, whether it's 4.6, GPT-4, whatever, you're like a hamster in a wheel that's spinning faster every month. This is not just like a code hygiene concern. It's cost and compatibility. So 4.6 now beats Opus in two key benchmarks, 1/5 the price. If you're still routing all traffic to Opus because that's what you set up 6 months ago, then you're paying 5 times for worse results. We need better abstraction. Tools like Light LLM, this is a Python package that works. Ruby LLM is for the Ruby engineers. I'm sure there are others for the native languages that you're writing in, but you should have these in your pipelines and have evaluations set up to see token consumption, to see how the evals are going, and then be able to benchmark them, especially if you're using agents at scale. You know, saving, if you go to your boss and you say, hey, I saved 5 times our token costs this month, or you know, these queries, that's going to be brownie points for you. Anthropic shipped 2 major models in 12 days this week. Sonnet 4.6 beats Opus on 2 benchmarks at 1/5 the price. If you're paying for Opus because that's what you set up last quarter, then that's your architecture, not Anthropic. Here's a 3-layer pattern, gets you off the hamster wheel. 1 abstraction layer, an externalized prompt, and a minimal eval harness. It takes a day to set up. It saves you future. Yep, it's that's the tip I got for you today. Tip done. We're getting into the infrastructure hyperscaler level here, people. You gotta stay ahead of the curve, or else, yeah, it's gonna be a rough one. Let me just check this out. I like how every AI package now has AI generated images in their GitHub. Pip install. I think there's a Ruby LLM one too. I'm trying to get this installed on mine. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, they got a fancy new page too. So Ruby LLM, beautiful API for ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini. Again, these are I think these are non-starters at this point. Whew. Okay. All right. Tip done. Next story is one that dropped AMD's stock 4%. Meta and NVIDIA announced a multi-year, multi-generational strategic partnership on February 17th. The key components, millions of Blackwell and Vera Rubin GPUs. We talked about the Vera Rubin GPUs on another episode. Large-scale NVIDIA Grace GPU deployment. It's the first of its kind at any scale. Spectrum X Ethernet networking, and an NVIDIA confidential computing for WhatsApp. Meta announced in January its plans to spend up to $135 billion on AI in 2026. The deal is certainly in the tens of billions of dollars, and AMD stock dropped 4% on the news. This is Meta locking in supply of both current-gen Blackwell and next-gen Vera Rubin before scarcity hits. Zuckerberg framing delivering personal superintelligence to everyone in the world. That's the dream, right? Engineering teams from both companies will co-design optimizations and CPU, GPU, networking, and software. This isn't a commodity procurement relationship. So 135 billion total. That's tens of billion dollars annually. You're talking about all of the latest chip processors. Some of those Vera Rubins aren't even completely built yet. I think they're just in development. But they had like demos that were crazy. WhatsApp AI is coming. So they're going to start building privacy first AI inside of your WhatsApp. Compute supply is becoming a strategic resource. When hyperscalers like these big companies look for GPU supply through multi-year contracts, the spot market tightens. SaaS companies and startups building AI features, this is macro force that shapes your inference costs and provides provider options over the next 2 to 3 years. the Vera Rubin architecture matters for token pricing. And we were talking about this before, but NVIDIA claims 10 times lower cost per token versus the Blackwell chips. And when this hits cloud availability in H2, you can expect inference pricing to compress significantly, which reshapes the business case for AI features you're building today. If you're an engineer and you're not sure what the actual costs of these tokens are, you should talk to your boss, because I believe that's going to be a bottleneck pretty soon for companies, is that how much tokens. We were joking about this in sprint planning about how story points aren't going to be a thing anymore. It's going to be how many tokens will it cost to get this feature across the line. I don't think that's far from the truth. This WhatsApp AI is coming. Token costs are going down. I mean, if NVIDIA delivers on 10 times cheaper token costs, that makes building more and more AI features not only cost effective, but it's kind of going to add a lot more value to the customer, that they can query a lot more without having to have such dramatic increases in like their per seat basis, or even when AI agents start interacting with your application, because that's coming too. Everyone had public MC APIs before. Public MCPs are going to be coming up next. So here's the negatives. Hyperscale concentration means smaller players will have less pricing leverage with cloud providers. What else is new? Vera Rubin hits production in H2 of 26. So pricing compression for cloud inference may not actually hit us until 2027. AMD's decline reduces competitive pressure on NVIDIA. Long term, this is bad for ecosystem pricing. And then the Grace CPU narrative, AI needs CPU companion, adds complexity to infrastructure planning. Best case, 10 times token cost reduction and flow downstream to cloud inference pricing means everyone will benefit building on these systems. We're getting into it. Zuckerberg says, we're excited to expand our partnership with NVIDIA to build leading edge clusters using their Vera Rubin platform to deliver personal superintelligence to everyone in the world. I think that's great. I think that is great. Okay. What's next on our list of things? This is some more NVIDIA. Performance boost, yeah. Kind of neat. All right, going into our next story. So we're running out of time here. Google's 2026 Responsible AI Progress Report. So Google published this report in February 18th, yesterday. The report frames 2025 as a major shift for AI as it became a helpful, proactive partner capable of reasoning and navigating the world, and signals that agentic systems are now the primary risk domain the company is focused on. I mean, I think everyone I've talked to in software has been switching to some sort of agentic process. This is why AI engineers are becoming very ubiquitous, and software engineers are switching into these roles because they are different, but I still think software engineers are the best filler for this role, because we understand a lot of the around it, right? All the infrastructure, all of the, does it scale? How are we testing performance? So these agentic systems that we're using to help build other systems are going to be very important for our careers in the future. I'm really trying not to be super doom scrolly, because I think that with the advent of agents like this and technology like this, the need for good software engineers is only going to grow. So keep learning more about AI engineering and everything going on around it. It's going to make you stand out from the crowd. It's not just writing for loops anymore, my friends. All right, so the key themes. Multimodal models are at scale, require more sophisticated safety pipelines. I was just on a podcast where we talked about how other roles that are going to be, coffee break, other roles that are going to be popping up are going to be regulatory compliance and governance roles specifically for AI. And this is something that I am diving deeper into. In grad school, we covered a little bit about this. I have been diving deeper into it. AI ethics is also going to be a very strong position at almost every software company that exists, maybe even at non-software companies, because there's going to be liability that goes into all of this. So this report here might be a good read for anybody who's looking to see what the big names are doing in software around the progress. Agentic systems create new categories of risk around tool use. Yep, we've seen that. Long horizon decision making and unintended side effects. And responsible AI development is now fully embedded within product development and research life cycles, rather than being a separate function. The report notes the transition from exploration to integration across their user base, which maps directly to what production AI teams are experiencing right now. So this regulatory environment is hardening around agentic AI. You know, when Google is publicly documenting their responsible practices, they're setting the baseline against, which regulators and enterprise customers will evaluate everyone else. If you're shipping agents in production, this is the emerging standard. Agentic safety is now an engineering problem. I've been calling that out for a while. It's not just a policy issue. Prompt injection resistance, we talked about that earlier, especially in the 4.6 release notes. Tool use guardrails. Guardrails is a new term that I've been working with the AI agent about. These confirmation patterns, making sure that the agent knows that there's irreversible actions going on. These aren't just nice to have anymore. They're table stakes. The exploration to my alarm is telling me it's time to go to work. That's okay. The exploration to integration shift. Google describes your competitive window. These companies that get their responsible AI practices in order to get this transition implemented before regulations land, because regulations are coming. I don't know what they look like, and maybe I'll try to do a deep dive on what the current regulations are. If you guys would like to see that deep dive, drop some comments below and we can talk about it. But we have a real moat with enterprise customers here. Real moat. Yeah. All right. Well, that's 4 stories. And before we connect them, let me just give you my take from the trenches. What this week actually means if you're an engineer at a SaaS company. Okay. First off, I've been building AI agent features for a while now. This week is one of the first times that I've had to go back and say the model I picked for this pipeline might not be the right choice. This has to do with either agentic engineering, agentic driven TDD development, agentic driven development, ADD, or if your agents are consuming prompts and serving information up. But it's the wrong choice today, right? Sonnet 4.6 changed the math. If you have Opus in production for coding or for office automation tasks and you haven't run the cost benefit since yesterday, do it today. If you don't have a way to measure cost benefit, make a case for it to your manager or to the CEO or whoever you have to, because these cost cutting measures are going to be paramount in our workflow coming up. So if you're not, we always lead with data. So if we're not doing that, let's do it. All right. Here's a thread connecting it all. Vertically, 4.6 Sonnet compresses the gap between mid-tier and flagship. The performance curve is collapsing downward on price. 2 major models in 12 days. That release cadence is not slowing down. And if your architecture isn't model agnostic today, I said this last time. Every new release is a fire drill. I really hope you're not just letting the releases go and not testing them. All right. This is AI engineering is a field where you constantly live on the bleeding edge, right? Good enough is expensive. 6 months ago, super expensive. We need to start cutting costs. Horizontally, Meta and NVIDIA are locking in compute supply that makes all of this possible at scale. And Google's RAI report, this one, Responsible AI Progress Report, again, good read. It's setting the compliance expectations for deploying it responsibly. The compatibilities are getting cheaper and faster. The infrastructure to run them is getting locked up by hyperscalers, and the expectations for how you build them responsibly are hardening. Engineers who want to get ahead of 3 curves this year are going to be in a very different position next year. That's the story. 3 takeaways. Clip this. 3 things after this week. Rerun your model, cost math, because Sonnet 4.6 just beat Opus at 1/5 the price. Start treating agentic safety as an engineering problem, not as a policy problem. And watch the Vera Rubin hardware curve, because inference is about to get dramatically cheaper. One of these should be in your calendar this week. Well, I think that's the show for today. It's 9:04. I got to get to work. Really appreciate you guys logging in. I appreciate you guys listening to me talk for a little bit. Leave some comments, subscribe, share it with your friends. If you have anything you want me to dive in on, let me know. My name's RJ. This has been the AI Engineering Brief. I'm out.
Is in the loop.